You see Pam?
I see Pam. No, I don't see Pam. Pull it to
What if I...
the other side.
Yeah, that's what it was.
That's what she said.
That's what she said. What, to the other side?
Yeah. That'd be horrible, though. I mean, which other side?
How about there? Is Pam there?
Yeah, that looks cute.
Awesome.
We have a Pam. Okay.
I still don't know the name of my rose, though.
I said Rosie, but you said it was two on the nose.
Yeah.
How about Bromelia? It's a rose named Bromelia. It's like el pato que se llama... No, atún que se llama pato.
Mm.
Anyway. Hi.
I thought about calling her Lily, actually.
That's cute. That reminds me of Harry Potter.
I see. I mean, yeah.
But yeah, like, I kind of... My Querétaro plants are named after Harry Potter characters.
Oh,
Kinda.
that's cute. I wonder who I would name her. I know what I want to name her. But I feel like it made more sense if she was red. But no, it's okay. Maybe. I'm thinking Anne Bonny.
Oh,
Is what I want to
cute.
name her.
That's
Anne Bonny. Okay, that's gonna be her. Very well then.
Yeah. As we were saying.
Is that
hi.
recording?
Yeah, it is recording. Everything is recording.
Amazing.
We've been recording for like 2 minutes now.
All right. Well.
A minute and 30 seconds.
All right. Well, hi. I'm the Pine.
And I'm the water. And you're listening to A Cup of Tea.
A podcast about exploring life through each other's eyes.
While sharing a cup of tea with you, I learned that I have to be louder. I'm trying to be louder right now.
Look at you.
Yes, I'm seeing the levels, the microphone levels,
Mm-hmm.
and I see myself going very quiet and you're going very loud, so I'm going to do my best to be normal voice level.
We'll see about that.
About that we will see.
There we go. So today,
I am drinking coffee. And
I feel like we've already had... I'm not drinking coffee. I'm drinking the rooibos... What is it?
Raspberry.
I always forget. But that's what I'm drinking. But I feel like we've had coffee on the show. And
we
we'd
have.
be like, it's technically tea.
Yes, we have.
So...
Yeah. It's been said.
Yeah. I don't think we can do that with wine, though. But I do see this show...
Eventually having wine.
Yeah. Jinx.
Totally be into it. Like I mean, I don't know if they do that, but there's this podcast that the Tri Wives have called You Can Sit With Us.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if in the podcast they drink wine, but there's an episode of the Tri guys, like with the wives trying wine and learning to make their own wine or something.
Interesting.
Yeah. Interesting indeed. So anyway. Today, we're talking about random stuff, really. Like
a little, yeah.
It's a little bit, like, we have several things in our minds.
That are happening, yeah.
Yeah. So, where do you want to start?
Well, you did...
Chronologically?
No. Well, I don't know if it's chronologically. Maybe it is. But I think you said something about watching the Titanic.
Yeah.
And I thought it was so, like...
Random?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you watched it with your roomie.
I did.
And so, explain.
So, it turns out that she's a huge Titanic fan.
Maybe that explains it a little bit.
She loves, like, apparently when she was a kid, she was obsessed with it. She knew every random fact there was to know about the actual ship. Okay. And then she was very excited when the 25th anniversary remasterization of the movie came out, because now it's in 3D.
Oh,
yeah,
fancy.
I know. And so the other day, this was last week. Yeah. She was like, do you want to go to the movies to watch Titanic? And I was like, sure.
Plus going to the actual movies.
Yeah, exactly. Going to the actual movies. Paying $20-something for a 3D movie, which I was like, oh, it's so expensive.
And it's Titanic.
It is, yeah. But I will say it was worth the $20, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, I was not expecting that. I was very, we're going to watch Titanic. We're going to watch Leo DiCaprio die. That's fine. We know what happens. Mm-hmm. Which is part of the interesting thing for me. We know what happens. I think everybody in that room that was probably like 90% women knew what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And still, I could hear, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we got there. We got the movies. It was funny because we ran into some girls from the residence at the movie theater. And, oh, wait, no, that happened another time. Forget it. That's part of another story. So we were there. We got popcorn. Then we went into the movie theater. We got the seats at the back. And she was very excited about it. Because she loves the movie. So we sat on our couch and we had been talking about Avatar and how that is also 3D. That is also a James Cameron movie. Apparently the only thing he does is big ass blockbuster movies that make a shit ton of money at the box office. That's the whole appeal of the man. And throughout the movie I was thinking, man, how could he write Titanic, which is a good movie. It's like a nice story. And then he fucking does Avatar 2, and it's horrible. You know?
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but I have only heard not nice things about it.
Anyway, so we start watching the movie in 3D, as I said before. And surprisingly, it looks so pretty. Like, I'm very wary of watching 3D movies because I don't like the experience.
Yeah,
like in general,
I don't love 3D.
It's like the things jumping at your face doesn't look real. Like, but this, because it's not made for 3D, it looks so pretty. Like you can see how the different planes separate. I don't know how they did it. I wanted to actually look into how they remastered it for 3D. Because I'm imagining that they use this technique that I saw before for a Mexican documentary where they scan photos and then in VFX, they separate the background from the foreground. And so they make it like a 3D thing with just a photo, which is pretty cool. So I guess maybe they did kind of a similar thing. I don't know. But I was mesmerized by how it looked. It was really pretty. And then I just kept thinking, man, imagine, I mean, I'm having a great time watching this right now. Imagine when it came out. You know, that must have been such a huge thing.
Yeah.
To go to the movie and watch Titanic there. Then there were some funny moments where I was just very aware of the movie. Like, afterwards, talking to my roommate, I said, dude, like, if you were actually on that ship with Leonardo DiCaprio at the tip of the boat, you, for one, wouldn't be able to speak because the wind on your face would have been so strong. And two, I bet it was cold as fuck.
Yeah. Probably.
But anyway, so we were watching the movie, and then it kind of, by the middle point, when they are, I think when they're having sex in the car or something, I could hear right beside me, there were this group of girls, like 4 or 5 girls. The one that was sitting right beside me was sobbing, like full on ugly crying.
Was this like more of a child?
Like maybe she was 20.
All right.
20, like
early 20s.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, like seriously, you're full on weeping right now. I mean, that's just like I know how it ends. I know that he doesn't get on the board.
Oh.
And we were thinking about it both at the same time. We were like, of course he couldn't have gotten on the thing. It would have flipped. It was very hard. Like the physics of it would have made it very hard for him to actually be able to get on the board thing. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because when she's trying to get on it, it flips. Or like it does something. So she has a hard time climbing on it herself. So for him to have gotten on it... But
you could have counterweighted with her weight?
No, because I mean, I feel like she would have gone down. She would have gotten off of it. Like, maybe it would have been possible, but through hard maneuvering, which probably wasn't possible given how cold they were. You know? Okay. Not thinking clearly at that point.
Also, that's a good point.
So yeah, it was a cute experience. It was funny. And the crying girls made it hilarious to me.
Interesting.
So I would actually recommend it. Like, if it's still in the movie theater like right now, whenever this comes out.
Which I
don't know that it will, but you should watch it. Give it a chance.
Interesting.
I was very pleasantly surprised by it.
I know that like me and Pablo, we recently watched some movie in 3D. Oh, Puss in Boots.
You watched it in 3D?
We watched, yeah.
Oh, wow.
And like, again, I was like, ugh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it was just like that schedule is the one that worked for us, and we weren't very into the whole 3D idea.
Yeah.
Because it's very different. I feel like when we were younger and the whole 3D thing with like, I remember Spy Kids.
Oh, yeah.
That was the 3D thing that you were like, man, that was amazing.
Yes, it was.
You know?
And the red and blue glasses.
Yeah, that was like a thing. But now I'm like, no. But I will say, I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
Like, it was cool. I mean, not even about the movie. Like, the movie, Puss in Boots, was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And I just read a post that the whole idea of it was because Antonio Banderas had a heart attack. And he kind of had this sort of, like, experience of thinking about death.
Mm-hmm.
And he went to DreamWorks. Who knows if this is truth, right? And he went to DreamWorks and was like, I want a Puss in Boots movie where he faces death.
That's so cute.
I know, that was so good. I'm like, oh my God, yes. Amazing movie. And I do think that the 3D, because of how the movie is very Spider-Verse-y, was a very good component. But it's still a little like, I'm okay not doing the 3D thing.
I know.
But I think 3Ds are a point where like it's okay. I feel like somewhere between the red and blue glasses and now there was a very uncomfortable 3D point.
Yeah.
That made me go like, no, thank you.
I know. I was thinking the same thing, and I was telling Mariana on the road back to our dorm that my only other good reference of a 3D movie is at some film festival I watched the latest at that point Godard movie called Goodbye to Language, where he shot it in 3D or with a 3D camera, but he did weird stuff where he would point one camera on one angle and then he would like flip the camera around to like the side and then come back. And it was very weird, but cool.
Interesting.
It was like a subversion of the tool. At that point.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then the other thing that was also cool was that, but it's different because that, I think that borders on being on the 4XD thing where they do wind and water and they move the seat.
I see.
Because, and my most pleasant experience with that was when I was at Universal with my brother and we went into the Kung Fu Panda game.
Oh, we did that with Shrek. I did that with Shrek.
Yeah, which that's cute. I appreciate
but you're
that.
like in Universal.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, it's not just one screen, it's like the whole theater that they project on. So it's kind of cute.
A different thing. Yeah.
So yeah, that was my Titanic experience. And it was very nice. Pleasantly surprised. Very happy about it. And then I was just thinking of how when I was a kid, I remember that my mom had the VHS movie and two cassettes.
It was two different ones.
Because you had to switch it. It was too long for just one movie. And it is still very, like, I did not remember that it was 3 hours long. And at some point...
I do remember the 2 cassettes thing.
Mariana was like, man, I don't remember the movie being this long. And I had read, like, just a couple days before, I had been reading something about the midpoint of writing a script where it's like the midpoint is where stories go to die because writers don't know how to address the midpoint where it's like this thing that changes and the character has to make a decision or whatever. And they said that the midpoint of the movie is when the ship crashes into the iceberg. And we were both like, nah, that's like way towards the end. And no, that is literally the half of the movie.
What's the next
so
half?
Weird. Getting out of the ship and trying
All
to survive.
Of it?
Yeah, it is so long actually.
Oh wow.
I know.
Wow.
I was very mind blown by that.
Yeah.
By realizing that it was longer than I thought. So yeah.
Interesting.
I know.
Well, I'm happy you had a nice experience.
Yeah, it was really cool. And now we've been going to the movies. Yesterday, because yesterday was Monday. But this weekend, we went to watch Infinity Pool, which is a weird-ass movie. Like, so, this is by, I don't think you know this. I think I kind of told you about it, maybe. But, so, there's this director called David Cronenberg, which I just learned he's Canadian. And he has a son now called Brandon Cronenberg. And I remember this guy from college who loved David Cronenberg movies.
Really?
Yeah. And
what?
And at some film festival, he was like, "Oh no, he's the best." And I think it was that year that Maps to the Stars came out. So he was super excited about that movie. He's like, "Because I love this guy, so I'm gonna watch this." And at some point, I also watched another one of his films called Cosmopolis because Robert Pattinson is in it. And I don't remember either of the movies. I just I know they were super weird.
Okay.
And so he's into body horror and
oh yeah, you told me that.
And yeah. Ew. And so this movie, which I was not very interested in watching, but Mariana wanted to watch it because of Mia Goth, I think.
And you wanted to watch it
because of Alexander Skarsgård.
There it is.
And I was like, okay, fine, I can watch it just because of him. Mm-hmm. That is the only reason I went into that movie theater. Man, it was so disturbing that so I had been, in my mind, going on this thing where I watched, I think I told you about this, that I watched 50 Shades of Grey because I wanted something stupid to watch one day. And Amazon recommended the extended version or something. And I was like, I don't know how it's extended, but there it is.
But we'll watch it.
Yeah. And I was watching it and I noticed that there's a couple of scenes that they shot in Gastown.
Yeah.
And so...
Oh, did you watch the video that I sent you?
I did.
It's so
I showed
cute.
it to my dad and he was like, wow, so many movies. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, because it's a video about how Vancouver is in a bunch of movies, but it's never as Vancouver.
Yeah. Except I laughed so hard.
When the Vancouver thing? Yes, in 50 Shades. That was hilarious. Maybe you can link that video here.
Yeah,
because
that was put it on the thing here.
She said.
Yeah. So I was with that, oh, it's recorded here or whatever. And this movie was not recorded here. I think it was recorded in Hungary and Croatia and Europe. Mm-hmm. But it's so freaking weird and so, yeah, gory and bloody and violent.
Not my cup of tea.
I don't know. It's I don't want to spoil it. I mean, you're not gonna watch it.
Nope. But they might.
Okay, maybe I don't think it's a spoiler necessarily because I'm not gonna say anything about the plot. But it's not. I feel like it's not a rounded story. There's there's something missing for it to fully make sense and to fully sink in.
All right.
I do think, and I know that I can be biased, but I think Alexander Skarsgård is really good, and Mia Goth is actually really good. I didn't like her in the movie, but because her character is fucked up. Okay. But I think she's actually good. And I hadn't seen her in anything else before. So we left the movie theater. We went to this theater downtown, and then something happened that you were like, "Oh my god, this sentence has not been uttered in Mexico." Where I said there was a shooting down, I think at Hastings or Cordova or something. And they closed the street, so the buses had to take another route. Something weird. Yeah, I don't exactly know what happened.
I said that you and I had not uttered that sentence while living in Mexico, and that was weird. Because, it's like Mexico versus Canada. And saying there was a shooting downtown, it's not something... Yeah. It's something that media would be more like, all right, that sentence belongs in Mexico, not in Canada. But then again, Hastings. Mm-hmm.
So we were waiting for the bus, and this man was there waiting with us, and he said something like, "Oh yeah, the buses are taking so long." Just something stupid, small talk. But we're so freaked out about the movie that we're like, "Oh my god, we're gonna die! Don't talk to us! Yeah, don't kill us! Please don't kill us!"
This lady.
I know, it was ridiculous, but eventually we survived. We made it back home and everything was fine. But
I'm glad.
It's like that kind of movie that leaves you in like a weird mental state.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, that's the end of my movie theater going story. But I mean, it's kind of adjacent. It just reminds me that the other day you told me about the Super Bowl halftime show.
Chicks.
Yeah. Which I didn't watch because I was watching Titanic. And then I watched it like after you told me, and I was on the bus going home. I watched it and I like it. I liked Rihanna's halftime show. Yeah, even though I'm not a huge Rihanna fan, I liked it a lot. Mm-hmm. I remember I remember last year's with Snoop Dogg and
a bunch
50
of people.
Cent and like all the rappers basically. Yeah. And then the one before with Shakira and J-Lo.
Oh, I love that one. Oh.
And I didn't really like that one much,
What? Yeah. Did you watch the J-Lo documentary on it?
No, I didn't. But this one I actually did like. And my other memory, I guess, is the Maroon 5 one with the SpongeBob thing. And a Coldplay one. And this one, I feel like there's always this huge expectation.
Yeah, of course.
Of what it's going to be. And then everybody's disappointed because they have this.
There was the one in the pandemic.
Yeah, wasn't that the J-Lo one?
No.
Which one was the pandemic one? Apart from the Snoop Dogg rapper thing.
What's Weekend or whatever? No.
The Weekend.
Yeah? Yeah, that was the one in the pandemic and everybody hated it.
Yeah, and I actually liked that one too.
There you go.
Yeah. So this one, I liked how simple it was.
But it was simple, but it was cool.
Exactly. It was like very visually compelling.
I love the
dancers and the choreography and the platform thing.
That thing.
Yeah. And I thought it was so funny that she did that plug for her makeup line. It's like, man.
I didn't know that they didn't get paid.
Oh, they're making such a fuss about it now. Like, I've been reading so many articles and so many posts on Instagram like, oh, Rihanna didn't get paid for the halftime show.
But nobody does.
Exactly. Right? Nobody does. But they make it seem like Rihanna didn't get paid for the halftime show.
Well, I didn't know that they didn't get paid.
I didn't know either. I guess it's like, honestly, at this point, they don't really need to get paid for it. Because it's free publicity.
Yeah.
For whatever they are doing. And so, yeah, it really annoys me how this thing, the thing that we're reading, like, Rihanna wasn't paid to perform on the halftime show. Like, the sensationalism of that headline is like, that's a half truth. That is,
Yeah. I don't on my side. I don't appreciate any comments of like, oh, it was very me or like whatever, When I think it was really cool.
I know, and after you told me about it, I think one of her friends posted a story or a meme about expecting the halftime show to be Rihanna twerking all the time and twerking while pregnant, and I was like, and it was a guy, so I thought. I haven't been pregnant. We haven't been pregnant.
Not yet.
Imagine twerking while that pregnant. Like, Jesus. No, thank you. No. I mean, maybe, but no.
We don't know, but.
How are you expecting? I think she did a great job.
Of course.
I
really like her outfit.
Really, yeah. I thought, yeah, see, that's the simplicity of it made it so magical.
Yeah.
And you don't need to have her twerking
and the dancers, everything.
Yeah, the dancers were amazing. Cool. So I don't agree with anybody saying that they didn't like it.
I mean, they didn't like it. Yeah. But I still think that it was really cool.
I think so too.
We'll love her. Anyways. So yeah.
Yeah. So that brings us to the other random thoughts that we had, which were starting, actually, this wasn't a random thought, but last week.
Oh, yes! Oh, my God! Yes! Oh, sorry, Safita. We are very excited because we have finally started recording season 2 of Pockets in the Universe. And oh my goodness, I feel like we were so scared that it wasn't going to happen, that we were not going to do it, that we were just procrastinating it.
I think you were so excited that you need to move your microphone a little bit.
No, I'll chill. I was just very excited for a second. I was very excited. Anyways.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think, so the first season, we all filmed it in Mexico before we came to Canada.
Yeah.
So we did all the filming there, and then we started editing here, and we published it. But then it came to, how are we actually going to film it here?
Yeah. That was, I remember when we were fretting over how do we cast it here? Where do we shoot it? How is everything going to work? And then,
because he was also like thinking of getting people from here and doing it in person, like we did the first pockets, but also about still talking to people in Mexico and then doing it online.
Yeah, and doing it in Spanish versus trying to switch it to English now.
Which I think was the original idea was for the second season to be more in English than in Spanish.
Yeah.
But we kind of decided against it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I still think we can have episodes in English, but I do think that...
Yeah, most of them still in Spanish. I think the idea of what the second season is going to be like, or the future seasons are going to be like, is still evolving.
Yeah.
But I like where we're heading with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the experiment that we're trying to pull with it.
Do you want to mention what that is, or are we keeping it to ourselves?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to. I kind of want to say it, but at the same time, I'm like, let's keep it. Let's keep it secret. I don't know.
Maybe we could share.
Yeah. So, okay. Yeah. So we're trying to do this experiment. Sapito is killing.
It's all right. She's a killer kitty, but we love her.
We do.
Sometimes she remembers that she was a street cat, and she's like, must defend me from nothing. No threat at all. Anyways.
Yeah. So there's been studies done on how people go through life. And the one that I remember the most is a study about happiness, and it tracked people over 60 years or something, right?
I don't know if it was over 60 years, but I do know what you're talking about.
So, kind of along those lines, we're going to do this thing where we have the same pockets, the same pockets, but the same people in pockets through, I don't know, however many seasons we do. And we go through their experiences in life at
different stages of their lives.
Which, when we were talking about it, kind of reminded me of that interview that I think is really cute, that Vanity Fair does every year with Billie Eilish, where I think she started being 16 or 17, and now she's, I don't know, 20-something, 21, 22, and she goes back on it every year and looks at her answers and what she looked like, and she's like, I'm such a child. Oh, that's I think it was really cute too. Like, it's like a cute experiment on like evolution and memory, and And I as a side note, I don't know if it's just me. I don't know if I've told you about this like expressly, but I am so like obsessed with the idea of memories and preserving things and like exploring how we remember stuff. And I think it's because of this quote that I read many years ago of how, I think it's a Garcia Marquez quote that says that memories are what's left when something happens and doesn't completely unhappen. Something like that.
Okay.
Which I thought was so cute.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. And so I think it's a cute thing to do this as the yearbook sort of thing.
Oh, that's so cool. I mean, I don't, of course it's an experiment, and this is just our idea of what could be. And we'll try to make it happen, you know?
Yes.
This all kind of, I guess, the idea of the experiment was because our first episode is with Andy. And Andy, in the first season of Pockets, was talking to us about moving in with her boyfriend. Fast forward to now, she's talking to us about being a mom.
Yeah.
I was so excited for that episode.
Yeah, I remember
we didn't know that it was going to be our first episode. We knew it was going to be like one of the first ones because
trying to schedule this
because of trying to schedule it and everything. But I was just so intrigued and fascinated. And again, I think I'm not sure how much I've mentioned this on ACOT about how things are happening inside me.
I don't think you have mentioned it.
Really? At all?
Yeah, I not that I can remember.
Well, just in case I haven't, or in case you haven't heard that. Just a little bit of context. I was always a child and a teenager, very rebellious, very like, I don't want to get married, I don't want to have kids, I'm going to be the cool aunt, which I am the cool aunt, but the last year, I think, I've started to like, because I used to look at babies and they were gross. No matter how cute they were gross. And you can ask my nephew and my niece. When they were babies, I didn't like them. And they still hold it against me. But yeah, I didn't like babies. And now I see babies and I'm like,
they're cute.
Now they are kind of cute. And I was telling Andy when we were talking, I'm low-key worried and afraid of what it would be to be pregnant. So I had a lot of questions, and I was just very and on the one hand, I was very excited because this was Andy, and I've known her since. I don't think we were friends in elementary. We were in different classrooms, but we became friends in
middle school.
In middle school. So since then, so it's been like years and years and years. And we've kept in touch and everything. And she's the first of my group of friends to have a baby. So yeah, that was a lot. That was amazing. It made me so happy.
Yeah, I really like that pocket. And especially I liked it because it was as much as we try to, I guess, I mean, we don't have a script. We never have a script, but
no.
We do have questions, specifically this one. There's like, is there something that you want to ask, Andy? What should we go for? And we ended up recording like 3 hours of,
We were done. We said goodbye. Cameras were off.
Yeah.
And we just kept talking. We're like, oh no, we should start recording again.
Yeah, because this is juicy. This is good. This is part of the interesting things that we wanted to know and we wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot because of that, because it felt like a cool conversation of stuff that maybe once you're older, you know, but before you have no clue, and it would be nice to know. Like so many things in life.
Right.
But, so yeah, I really...
So, like, what are your thoughts on
getting pregnant and having kids?
Yeah.
I don't know, because as I said in that episode, so I think that when I was a kid, I did like babies. I did like kids. I had, baby dolls.
Not me, but yes.
Baby dolls, and I always had like baby cousins, so it was cute to play with them.
Ew.
And then as I grew up, I was a babysitter before.
See, I was playing with tigers, so like babies were like, no, thank you.
Yeah. No, I was a babysitter for kids, like from babies to kids that were 8 or 9 or 10. I was also a dance teacher for kids, like from babies that are like 4 or 5 or 6 all the way to adults.
See, this is my baby
right
here.
For a very long time as a kid, I was like, oh, having babies would be so cute. And then as a teenager, I was like, holy shit, no. Overpopulation and climate change and the planet and society and whatever.
There's also that.
That was a very huge shift towards, I don't want babies. I never want to have kids. And so it was the kind of thing that I said to myself a lot to try to, I like the idea, kind of convince myself of it. Not that I wasn't convinced, but to like fully get it in there that I wasn't, that I was never gonna have kids. But then it was always in the back of my mind, like, oh,
it'd be cute.
That would be cute, yeah. And then comes, I think it does change a lot when you fall in love and when you start thinking about having kids with somebody that you love. That does change things a lot, because then you start imagining it and it's all cute. And like what happened, like what I thought was then at some point was, oh, maybe I will get married. Maybe I will have kids because they would be so cute.
See, I think there's a big difference between, and this is something that happened to me, not when thinking about having kids, but when thinking about getting married. Because same thing. I was like, I did have that stage, that stupid stage of like my quote unquote first love and thinking, oh yeah, we're going to get married and we're going to, I don't know that I thought that we were going to have kids, but very naively, very stupid, teenager-y first love kind of thing. And I would dream about like all the things that I wanted for my wedding and all things like that. And then afterwards, again, more in character with my, I don't know, rebelliousness, my mom would say. I didn't want to get married and sort of things like that. Yeah. And that brought me to thinking, like, I sort of changed my perspective from I want to get married and I'll find someone to get married with to I don't know if I'll get married or if I want to get married until I find someone, and then I'll be like, I want to be married to that person. So it like I'm not doing a good job by explaining it. I don't think.
No, I think I know what you mean.
But instead of being like, one of my goals in life is to get married. Yeah. And then I just find the person to get married with. It changed to, I don't know if I want to get married, because I feel like I'll know when I'm with someone that makes me want to be married to them. You know, so that was a big change for me.
That's so funny. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Why?
Because I feel like that's a huge thing in general, where I have this, I feel like it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think many people go through life having these sort of like checklists of have a house, get married, have kids. And
we know like a couple of people like that.
With that mentality of, I have to get married, or I want to get married, and I have to find somebody to like,
fit into that
requisite. Yeah. And it's not the other way around. Of, let's see if I find somebody that I love, and then see if maybe I want to marry them or spend my life with them. And it's kind of funny that I never thought you were going to say that. Like,
really?
That you had the prerequisite sort of thing of, I mean, before, not now. But,
I mean, I did have it, like I said, because I think for as much as I didn't want to be a girly girl, I did sort of like fantasize about my wedding. And in my whole kind of like deconstruction about romantic love that I've gone through, I looked at it and I was like, maybe I saw somewhere this idea of like, you don't want to be married, you want to have a wedding. Two very different things, right? Yeah. So that kind of made me go, one is a party. A very awesome party that makes me be very creative, and I want to do a lot of things. Yeah. But it's a party. So that took me to from the child, let's say, that wanted to be married and very fantasy, to the teenager that was like, romantic love, and it's sort of like poisonous in some ways. And I was like, I don't want to be married because it's for so many reasons. To being like, you know what? I don't know if I want to be married because it's not going to be about having a party. It should be about like, if I am with a person that brings up in me this feeling, this need, this want to be married to them, then that's when I'll know that I want to have a wedding. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the wedding thing, yeah, for sure. But leaving that like on the side, because we do know that it's a party and it should be really fun and whatever. Because I do okay, so I remember this thing where I went to a bridal shower for Lilian, the tap teacher from my dance studio. And because we became friends and everything. And it was funny to me that bridal party was mostly like with her students who were kids, many of them between like 10 and 20.
That was her bridal party?
Yeah. Which was cute and interesting. Like, yeah.
I'm just like, why?
Because
it's fine. I'm just...
Because they're the people that she spends most of the time with.
All right.
And her
cute.
friends come from there. Like, she's very close to some of her students. And like, I'm not her student, but I've taught classes with her. I've taken classes with her. I've worked with her. So, yeah. And there was this part where they had a game of what is your perfect wedding like? And I said, everybody was shocked, but I said, I don't want to get married. So, but there's still a part of me that wants to plan the wedding, and this is what my perfect wedding would look like, right? So on the not wanting to get married part, apart from their shock, I also shocked my brother because we had this conversation one time, which I think I told you about, where he asked me once if I never planned on getting married to anybody. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, if I find somebody that I fall in love with and it makes sense, then yeah. But otherwise, I just see I just see it as a paper. Like, it's paperwork. It's a government thing where you go and say to the government, "Hey, I'm marrying this person, and now we do our taxes together." You know. And so for me, I would do it if it made sense to do it. If it was like financially savvy thing to do.
So you don't think, or at that point, you weren't thinking of this sort of commitment or celebration of our love, or saying that we'll be together forever?
No, like that's never been my approach because of that line of thought that I still have it. If you want to be with somebody, you don't need a paper to tell you that you're going to be with that person for however long you want to be with them. I mean, starting down the commitment line, I think we can go on to talk for that for hours and hours again. But yeah, so I thought about it in terms of something very practical. Something like if my prospective husband, partner, or whatever, is from another country, maybe it makes sense to get married so that for the passport thing or whatever. Or for taxes, if it makes more sense, again, for whatever reason, but never as I need to get married because that's my goal in life, to get married. Maybe or not, to, like, I just don't see it as the kind of thing that, to me, is the equivalent of saying, oh, okay, so you're my best friend. We need a certificate that says that we're best friends to prove that we are.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, for sure. I get that. And I do find it very interesting that we do that for our partner, but we don't do that with our best friends. But anyways, quick experiment. So go back if you can, to that time where you were in love.
Holy shit! Yeah.
Right. There is no part of you that or like, did you fantasize of marrying this person? Was there a part of you that was like, oh yes, I want to profess my love, or I need them to profess their love, or I want a promise that we'll forever be together?
No.
I thought she was going to say yes.
No, because the thing was, because of how I saw my life going and his life.
You did fantasize about having kids, though.
Yeah, I don't know that I would say fantasize.
Well, I just mean imagine.
Like, I mean, yeah, you know, I thought about it at some point because he brought it up.
Right.
Yeah. But he brought up the kid thing, and I brought up sort of like imagine when we do this in the future, like when we do this together. Like building a life together sort of thing, not necessarily having said, oh yeah, let's imagine when we get married and we stay forever and like happily ever after. Yeah, like
all right.
That's how I thought about it.
I find that very intriguing.
Yeah. Interesting. Why do you find that intriguing though? Like,
well, just because I feel like a lot of the fantasizing happens when we perceive ourselves in love. Although I would rather call it infatuation than being in love. This kind of like hectic, crazy, hazy,
nebulous,
state
of mind.
But yeah, even for me, I remember back when when I did fantasize about my wedding, it was never about, it was really about the party. It was because again, I was very fantasy oriented. So it was very like in a castle in the middle of winter with the snow, and like there would be swords involved, and like symbolism and things like that. Right now, my wedding looks different. But back then that's what it looked like. And it was about the creative endeavor of putting myself as an event. Like, what would I be?
Oh, wow.
Well, because in this wedding, it would be bringing like two people into this event. So how would I portray myself into this event? And it was very about symbolism. It was very about meaning. But I never, in my young years, never saw it as oh yes, the contract. That came later as a teenager. And as a rebellious teenager of like, no, thank you. Like, what's the point? And my whole issues with commitment that I had back then. And I was like, we are ever-changing humans. How are you going to make a promise? What if you change your mind? Like, why would you do that? So, I think back then, it was very about that, and it was not about like, oh yeah, the promise of love, the commitment forever. It was like in that moment, the creative energy of like bringing two people and turning them into an event to celebrate their union. It was not about a forever thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because I find it very contrasting. Like, the thing of, so on the one hand, you were very afraid of commitment.
I was very against it. The principle of it.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid, but yeah.
Sure.
I see it differently now. But anyways.
Well, against commitment.
Yeah.
But then at the same time thinking about this thing that you're saying about professing your love and saying that you're going to be with this person forever.
Well, that I think is the idea of wedding and marriages. But like I said, that wasn't my thing.
No. Oh, I mean, so you did, like, you never thought of part of the wedding thing as the
happily forever after? No.
Oh, so it's just, it was just the party.
it was the party, but the symbolism of it and the creative process and the bringing the two people, and yeah, it was that. But it was not about the promise of I will love you forever. That came later, and that was what I was critical of. And that's what made me sort of like, no, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, we remember. My question now, but partially because like a question for myself as well, is how much do you really want it? Like, how much do you want kids?
I wonder where the one comes from.
Yeah, like what's the internal story that you're telling yourself about what you want for your life. And so for me, I go back to saying, oh, I don't want to have kids because I also don't want to bring them into a world where who the hell knows what's going to happen in 20 years with the state of the world. So why would you do that to somebody? You know? And I still think this thing that I read somewhere or heard, that having kids is very selfish. And yeah, I 100% still believe that.
Yeah, I'm like, that tracks.
So I've thought about it more in terms of, what is it about, like hitting a checklist like we were saying before, or feeling like these are the things that you need to be happy in your life because somebody thought or somebody said that that's what you needed to do to feel fulfilled, or like you have done something.
I mean,
and so so at this point right now in my life, when we're working on Pockets and a cup of tea and our production company, I feel very ambitious these days, and I feel like I'm very focused and very like kind of single-minded in this thing of, let's do this, let's get this show on the road and let's have this happening. And my focus has shifted from the traditional, I guess, way of like, get married, have kids, raise
Do you
them,
think you were ever on that?
Not straightforwardly, no. But now I feel even less there. So I don't know. It's just like something that I've been thinking about lately, and it's been on my mind.
So, for example, because I have been giving it a lot of thought to the whole having kids thing, like again, because this past year, some weird shit's happening inside of me. Like, I've really been thinking about it. I've really been questioning myself of like, because I totally agree. Having kids is a selfish thing. Like, they didn't ask for it, right? So you are deciding to bring them or accepting that they're coming either way, you know? So in my case, I've really been thinking. I've even tried to like ask myself, because I have the feelings, right? Things are happening. I'm like, what is this? But I want to be responsible about it, right? And like putting aside the fact that it's also about Pablo and like what he wants and what we want together and all of that. Just like thinking of myself as a human being and like philosophically, like, can I justify to myself why bring kids? And I don't know that I can yet. I don't know that I can yet. Well, the things that I think, so I went on a journey.
As I do.
Yes. And I even had to, like, usually I do these journeys by myself. And I talked to you about it, and then I was like, oh, I feel like I need to tell Pablo about this. And I did. And it was a good conversation. But this journey was about like, okay, like, of course I want to be responsible, right? So right now, neither of us feels like we're in a place or a time to be having kids, right? And that's fine. I completely agree with that. But then I would think like, of course I'm pro-choice, right? And before whatever this is that's happening this past year, if I got pregnant without planning on getting pregnant, I would be like, no, like, just abortion, because it's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to a kid. It's not, like, just no, for whatever reasons there are, right?
Yeah.
But then with the whole thing brewing inside me, I was like, I don't know. I was like really doubting myself. I was like, with the feelings that I'm having, I don't know if I could. And that would really worry Pablo. So I was like, maybe I need to talk to him. And I ended up talking to him about it. And it was very helpful because I feel like I was starting to go into a little craze about having kids. Like, it scared me at some point.
Yeah,
I was like, what is happening?
The panic moment.
Yeah. I was really panicking. Like I was actually pregnant and I had to make a decision. Like, I don't even know. But talking to Pablo really helped me. And he brought me back to the fact that it's not about me and it's not about us. It's about the kid.
Yeah.
So even as much as I would want to have a kid, the decision can't be based on how much I want to have a kid. So that sort of like helped me bring it down a notch. And even like I can say whatever right now, and if it happens at some point that I'm pregnant, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do in that moment, in that situation, in whatever context that is. But I do think that conversation and that journey that I went through with Pablo helped me sort of build a pillar in my mind palace thingy, where it's kind of like putting responsibility first and putting the kid first. So, like, as crazy as I might be, as hormonal as I might be, like, I will go back to that pillar, to that moment, to that. It's not about how much I want to have a kid. It has to be about what will happen if, what to give to the, all of the things around it. But my point is that, like, I had to go through all of that to the ups and downs to come to where I am right now. And in the many people, however many there are, like your brother, that are like, I want to have kids. I want to be married. I just wonder, what is their journey? Are they having a journey? Is there just like, oh no, like, of course, like, yes, I want to be married. Yes, like.
I don't know. And you're just saying this now make me think of how, like, what a mature approach.
Oh.
To the, it just, because you're saying it's responsible, which, it is responsible. And it's very much about thinking precisely of how you are creating another person. And it's kind of wild. Like, if you actually sit down and just think about creating a new person.
I know.
And not even like about educating them or
I was thinking about
whatever.
That. I thought you were going to say not even about the pregnancy of creating a being, but like actually raising a being, functional being that has to be in society.
Okay, so there's like the two sides. One is the physical aspect of you being actually pregnant. Yeah, we go through that in the pocket with Andy.
We do.
But I mean, I thought about it after you've raised them. Like, assuming you did your best and they turn out to be a functional human being, right?
Yeah. To some whatever extent.
No, they're this other person that is like somebody else. Yeah, exactly. Apart from you, they're their whole different.
They came from
person.
You.
Yeah,
and they're out there.
That is so wild. Like that, just the
idea. A little sci-fi.
Exactly. It's like Alien. You're like exporting this human out of your body, and then they're like a full on person.
That is insane.
It is.
Like, I know it's normal, but it's still insane.
Yeah, it is. It is very, very insane. So yeah, like it fucks with my brain. Like creating a whole person. Why? What the hell? Weird. I guess cool. I guess you end up loving them. Most of the time.
Right.
But no, I mean the thing is, okay, so now taking it down to like going back to being serious for a second. Mm-hmm. No, I think it's a very good way to go about it. Like, more people should actually stop and think, okay, what am I do with this person that is going to be born and that I'm going to have to... I mean, initially, I laugh a lot with my dad saying how he usually has this joke of how we're so expensive for him. Which, I mean, yes, kids are expensive because initially you have diapers and food and daycare and whatever. And then eventually you have, exactly, college.
Freaking education.
Cars, if you want to buy them cars.
Yeah.
Like, we got spoiled getting cars. So, it's like, apart from the financial aspect of it, I think of the notion of, like... bringing another person into the world. Not a baby. Not just like cute baby, but like think of it
they're
as
gonna be a person.
Yeah. That So my takeaway is more people should think that through in that way. Of like fully grasp the consequences of their actions.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a little voice, which is my brother, one of my brothers, because at some point I said something along the lines of this, and he said something like, our generation is like, I don't, so it's complicated. Well, so he said something along, I'm very much paraphrasing because I'm trying to explain it without you being there. But he said something like, for him and his generation or whatever, or people that think like him,
like elder millennials.
I don't know. I feel like he's a little more Gen X-y. Yeah. Yeah. But anyways.
I can see that.
Yeah. So he said something like, we're losing something, some capability, because to him, if you get pregnant, instead of your answer being like, oh, I'm just not going to have the baby, to him, it would have been, or it would be more, or it has, you know what I mean? More along the lines of, let's do this, well, whatever, because he said something like, you'll never be in the perfect circumstances to have a baby. And even if you are, anything can change tomorrow.
Yeah.
So there's never the right time for you to plan to have a baby, which I'm like, there's levels to what you're saying. Right? So him saying that we're losing that sort of like, we will
push through.
Yeah. Power through. We will make it work. Sort of like, I don't know, a motivation, something.
I feel like it's the pressure of the moment of, no, you're in it, now you have to do it, kind of. Like, you're stuck with what you did. And you have, I don't know if it's less time to think about it, but it's very much, less planned, more, I wouldn't say improvised, but not necessarily improvised. More like going along for the ride, whatever happens, rather than carefully laying out what you're going to do, when this is going to happen. And I'm not saying, like, even after we talked to Andy, she was like, yeah, this was for sure not the plan for me.
But it was wanted, which I thought was, like, a very important part.
But I still think that it's, I mean, I see what your brother says, And I can kind of read into it that like millennials are spoiled sort of thing because we get to weigh the options or to be more, I don't know what the word is, but yeah, to just think it through more and not just jump in with it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, if we do think about the generations thing, at least in Mexico, right? Because that's our context. Then, like, in my mom's times, like, my grandmother had 13 children. And however many came, however many you would have.
Yeah.
Right? And it wasn't even on the table. There was no, like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be having this many kids. Right? And at least us, it is on the table, right? It is a matter of like, is this a responsible thing to do? Is this what I want? Is this what we want? Is this what we can do? So I do kind of see where my brother is coming from of like, there's never a right time. But like I said, there's levels to that. So I don't know.
I don't know either. And we need to wrap. Because we're gonna record the second pocket episode after this.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite the cup of tea.
Indeed.
Many
I like
thoughts.
it. I like it when even though we plan something, we end up going another direction.
It takes us places.
Yes.
Yeah. This is cool. Well, if you have any thoughts, experiences, feelings, please share. We would love to hear, read, and know about you.
Jinx.
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, my only rec is the Titanic movie.
Well, then
watch
I'll
it. Re-enjoy it
because it's amazing.
Right. And we'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Thanks for sharing a cup of tea with us.
To watch more episodes of A Cup of Tea, click the link on the right. If you want to watch Pockets in the Universe, go to the playlist on the left.